Hello and welcome to the final countdown show. We're just one sleep away from the greatest show on turf, the Longines International Races here in Hong Kong. HKR 2020 comes up tomorrow. Graham Cunningham, for people like you and me who love our racing and who work in it week in, week out, covering the sport in Hong Kong, this is a bit like our Christmas Eve, isn't it?
Yeah, it can't come soon enough for many reasons. It's been such a strange year for everyone all over the world. The Hong Kong racing bubble has been operational for 12 months. It's been bruised, but it hasn't burst. And we've got tremendous horses, tremendous jockeys for all the news stories, the Su Mion, the Vincent Ho yesterday with a positive test in his building. He's clear to ride. All those wobbles, everything's fine. And by the time Sunday arrives, it is what it always was. 4 top quality Group 1 races, world-class jockeys, world-class horses. And let's see how it goes. There will be surprises, there will be dramas. That's why they run the races.
Exactly. It's going to be a mouth-watering day of racing. We can't wait to get into it. Let's update you then on what happened on Saturday morning at the track with Tom Wood.
Hello and welcome along to this final Longines HKIR news update here on this Saturday, as we're just less than 24 hours away from the Turf World Championships here at Sharton with the 4 Group 1 contests. Plenty of action on the track this morning, albeit trainers putting the final polish on their respective runners for Sunday's big Group 1 card. Scaletti was the horse we saw on the all-weather track this morning. He was probably the most serious out of all of the horses we saw on this Saturday morning at Sharton. And earlier in the week, we did hear from his trainer, Jerome Renier.
You just need a race with enough pace so he won't be pulling. So I think Magical will be putting a lot of pressure on the Japanese filly if she goes in front. So it should be a proper race with a decent pace. So I mean, I think he'll be happy to wait and try to use his turn of foot to finish the race quite the way he likes to do it.
Jerome Renier also has Royal Julius going round on the program on Sunday afternoon, and he was out for a light leg stretch through the course of the morning, as well was Royal Julius. On the turf, we saw a very light trot and a canter from Romanise, the Ken Condon trained galloper who'll be ridden by William Lee. He was out for nothing more than a leg stretch this morning. And on the all-weather track, we saw the Japanese contingent of Normcore. She looked in good order this morning. Tower of London, who lines up in the sprint. Danon Premium, and last year's defending mile champion Admire Mars was out on the track as well, having a stretch around the all-weather. From the Aidan O'Brien runners, they were doing what they've done all week. The Ballydoyle Trio, Order of Australia, Mogul, and also Magical, all having a light canter around the all-weather track this morning. As I said, what they've done all week. That does wrap up this Longines HKIR news update from Saturday at Sharton, where we saw plenty of the contenders out on the track having, be it just a leg stretch or out for a serious piece of work here today. Less than 24 hours out from the greatest show on turf, the Longines Hong Kong International Races, Sharton Sunday.
Thank you for that, Tom, and you'll be able to catch Tom in action at Sharton as part of the broadcast for the greatest show on turf. But as we touched on at the beginning, this is an event that means so much to racing lovers here in Hong Kong like Graham and myself, but it's not just us that are so enamoured with the Hong Kong International Races, particularly in a year like this.
We're one of the very few racing jurisdictions that's been able to race all the way through the COVID process. So I think that we've created the model that a lot of people have taken heed of and have implemented in their own jurisdictions. So there's been a lot of measures put in place, routine testing of jockeys, trainers, industry participants, officials, to all the way to logged activity reports. So there's been a good deal of measures put in place and to make sure, as I say, that the sport can keep going.
I think the club has carried out a lot of good measures, such as providing masks in the critical times, and also to allow us to have flexible working arrangement. I think that is very important because we want to keep the work going as well as keeping our staff healthy.
My dream has always been race riding, and to be able to achieve this in this difficult time is due to things what we're doing now, which is, try to meeting less people and try to just be safe and not going to public restaurant or gyms like that. But if if we didn't do that, I won't be able to win the Derby last year. You know, I won't be able to win a Group 1 last year, and we definitely won't be able to have the international this year. So it's extremely important, not just for me, but for everyone to do it.
Well, first of all, it's an entertainment for sure. Like during the pandemic, we don't really have a lot of choices. We can't travel. We can't go to places that are too crowded. We sometimes probably can't even go to some gatherings. So what can we do? Like, this is what we like, and if we can't even watch it on TV, it will be really saddening for us, I think.
Behind closed doors racing then is something that's been taking place in Hong Kong since the end of January, Graham, so basically for 12 months, but there were some great points made in that vision there.
Yeah.
Sure, it's not the same racing behind closed doors as if we had 80 or 90,000 people tomorrow at Sha Tin, but had we not been racing at all, Vincent Ho doesn't get the Derby clean sweep of the 4-year-old series, the Southern Legend Champions Mile, and we don't get the enjoyment out of racing as we do each and every week.
Yeah, Richard Kimber put that piece together, and it's really good for several reasons. First of all, it's 3 young Hong Kongers and 1 slightly older adopted Hong Konger. Sorry, Kim. But what they said was really informative, especially Sabrina, talking about that value of racing being baked into the bread of Hong Kong. And it always has been. And the value of people being able to watch it from home. They can't be at the track, but they can watch it. It's even been recognised at government level as a value for stay-at-home entertainment when people are being encouraged not to travel too much. So that was really informative. And people all over the world will relate to this, that they haven't been able to go anywhere. They love the sport, whatever sport that may be. And if it's horse racing, they can't be at the track. They want to see it on telly, if it's safe and prudent to do so.
Well, one person who will be watching the racing very closely is a certain member of the Moreira family in Brazil. Let's hear more about that with Joe Moreira.
It's no doubt been different than what it's been in the past. And we are very blessed and lucky to have a jurisdiction that was able to keep on racing. So my tribute and my gratitude to all the leaders that was able to make it happen. We all know who they are. Look, we all have to be a little bit more cautious on regards to the virus because it's all around. We've been very responsible. You see, the club has been doing their job in regards to checking all the time and making sure we go to safe places instead of going to a high-risk places. So it's been a very abnormal situation for all of us. When it comes to the races, a very unique place, and we all missing those great atmosphere created by the public. So hopefully we can keep on going racing, and hopefully the public come back to the grandstand as soon as possible. I do have relatives that has tested positive, but all of them has been able to cope with it and go through, and they're fine now. They already gone out of quarantines. They all okay. Of course, I'm very worried about my mom in particular, who are not very young, and I can't see her being very strong to fight it if she gets it. But the person who worries me the most has been the most committed to don't expose herself. So I'm very pleased and proud of how she's been handling it, and hopefully she stay that way until we get out of these big problems that we're dealing with. I know Dao wants to fly back home to give a big hug and a kiss to my mom, knowing that I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna have to sit somewhere else for 2 weeks to make sure I don't test positive. Brazil is the place where I wanna go next, to just give a big kiss and a hug to my mom, who I miss very much.
Well, HKR 2019 was certainly a special day for Joe Moreira, the Magic Man, riding 5 winners at the meeting, including 2 at Group 1 level. What about for HKR 2020, Graham?
Yeah, look out when Joe Moreira gets on the roll. Tremendous day for him last year. Beat the clock in the sprint and Glory Vars. Run away winner for Japan in the Hong Kong Vars. Yes, his book is really strong. Let's do them one by one.
Will Columbus County start off in the Vars? He's an improving type, but is he improving enough to challenge Mogul and Exultant?
Probably not, but I don't think he'll be too far behind him. He is an unusual horse in that race in that he's definitely still on an upward curve. I think it's highly likely he'll run a belter, and I think it's highly likely he'll get 3rd or maybe 2nd.
You mentioned that Joe won the Hong Kong Sprint last year and beat the clock. Second was Hot King Prawn, who Joe rides this year. He's a fitter horse, in my opinion, with the extra run under his belt. Can he go one better this time around?
He can do, if Classic Legend doesn't deliver and everything goes right. I think it's wildly competitive if Classic Legend doesn't deliver. You're a Hot King Prawn fan, aren't you, Edward?
I am. I just think that although Classic Legend, in my opinion, is the better horse, I don't think the preparation has been ideal for him. So I think under the circumstances, with a good draw, a really good win last time out, it's Hot King Prawn's opportunity to get a Group 1.
What about in the Hong Kong Cup? This is a classic case, I think, of the difference Joe Moreira can make to a horse. Furore was going okay until Joe got on board, and since Joe got on board, two really impressive successes. The latest, the defeat of Horse of the Year Exultant. I think he's bound to run well. He's not my top choice, but he's going to go well, I think.
I think he will too, but I agree with you. I think the internationals will win the Cup either with Magical or down on Premium. I think Furore is the best of the Hong Kong hopes in the race, but I don't think he's quite good enough to win. I think he can still run a good race. We haven't mentioned just yet Waikuku, who's a fascinating horse. First up in the mile. John Size has done it before with Glorious Days. Can he pull that same rabbit out of the hat again?
Doesn't have to find much based on last year's form. Haven't seen him, I think, since April, but he'll be revved up and ready to go. So I think he'll give a good account. I think he might be placed again, but it's Joe Moreira, so you can't rule anything out.
No, you can't. But this year they've got Golden 60 to worry about too, Graham.
They have. The more I look at the Golden 60 angle, he is the one horse who could really explode. Once he gets really good fractions and good horses to run at, we should see the full range of his talents. My only worry is from a wagering perspective. I think the local support is likely to make him a tight price in what is an extremely deep race. But you can't write a better script than a horse who never ran before he came to Hong Kong, owned, trained and ridden by Hong Kong guys, and runs home in 21.6, 21.7 or 21.8. And when good horses do that, there's only a limited amount the opposition can do to resist.
Just one more point on the Magic Man. He's 4 wins away from 1,000 winners in Hong Kong, something that only Douglas White and Zach Purton have been able to do.
Yes, and if I was back in my scribbling days, I would be writing that story before I went to the races, just in case.
Well, let's welcome then our first guest on the Countdown show on this Saturday, star French jockey Alexis Bedell from his Sha Tin apartment. Alexis, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show.
My pleasure, thank you.
Before we talk about Sunday, let's talk about Wednesday night. Really good night for you with a double. Nice to be in form at this time of the year.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a great night for me. I was very pleased to represent Hong Kong for my first season, for my first time on the IJC. And it's been a great night to pick up 2 winners. And it's been very exciting, and I was very happy to be there for this occasion.
Alexis, you're 4th in the Hong Kong jockeys table. It's been a terrific start to the season. A couple of quick ones. Has it surprised you to see things go so well? And how much is the momentum growing now with trainers?
It's going well. I think I've done not a slow start, but I haven't got as much winners as I expected. But now it's going well. I've got good rides, great support from different trainers. I have done a lot of work to maintain and create some new relationship, and I'm very glad that it works well at the moment. I think I have improved a lot as well. So yeah, it's a great beginning of the season.
From the outside looking in, each stint you've done here, you've got better and better. How do you think you've improved in this stint then?
Oh, it's improved in many ways. Improved, like I've got a better relationship with professionals in Hong Kong, many trainers. I've got more confidence, of course, because I'm here for a long time, I hope. So it's a different game now. So and the way I ride as well has improved. I'm more confident, and I think I can feel it on the track.
Hong Kong is a fascinating place, challenging place for some. You've always really felt a strong relationship with the city. You're more of a city boy than some jockeys, and it must help when you feel so comfortable in your surroundings.
Yeah, definitely. And also my family has settled very well in Hong Kong, so it helps a lot because I feel good. I definitely adapt about the Hong Kong environment and the way it works, and the Hong Kong the Hong Kong style about the races. It suits me very well. I feel very comfortable.
Alexei, let's go back to Thursday night of this week then. Initially, Christophe Soumillon had been booked for the ride on Computer Patch. We know about the news with him. How did it come up that you got to get on the horse?
Well, actually, I was talking to Soumillon by WhatsApp, and he just made a joke. He said, "Oh, you will probably get back all the horses I stole from you," and I said, I didn't understand, and maybe a few minutes after this, I got a call from the jockey club to ask me if I was okay to ride Computer Patch.
This is a really good ride to pick up, Alexei, isn't he? He's a talented horse.
Yeah, definitely. I used to ride him, I think last season, and it seemed to me that the horse is getting stronger. He's very fit. And of course, trained by Tony Cruz, he's got everything to do well in races, in group races.
My question with him, Alexei, when I look at the Hong Kong Sprint, is the barrier draw. What do you make of that, and how you can counteract that?
Yes, of course, it's a question mark. The horse showed good early speed. It's all about get across without killing my horse and keep something for the finish. It can be a bit tricky, but I'm sure it's going to be all right, and I'll see what Mr. Tony Cruz will recommend me to do.
Hong Kong Mile is an incredibly strong race, but nice to pick up a ride on a big, strong horse like Mighty Giant.
Yeah, I think he's a very honest horse, very straightforward. He's a fighter, and I have no doubt the horse will give me everything in the straight. So let's see if he can do something good against the really good top horses on the mile, against Golden 60 and Mile March.
One final one then for you, Alexei. Last Sunday, yourself, Antoine Hamel and Tony Picone were celebrating wins with a nice bottle of red wine. Will the wine change to champagne, though, tomorrow night, if you're able to win on Computer Patch?
Yeah, definitely. I'll enjoy a little bit of champagne, definitely, if I can do something good. Even one winner in this occasion would be great. I think I've got a pretty good horses to ride tomorrow, so I have high expectation. Yeah.
You get on a roll sometimes as an athlete, I guess, Alexei, and things just seem to be going your way. There's a little bit of magic at the moment. So all the best for the weekend. We hope to see you shine again at Sha Tin, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
So from one guest and Alexei Bedell to the next, it's a real pleasure to be joined via Zoom by William Buick in the racing bubble. William, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Let's talk about this season in Europe and the UK specifically. There was a big COVID hole in the season. You had numerically your best ever season, didn't you?
Obviously, numerically, last couple of years before this season were a bit less than what I would like to have done. So I went out this season, with the intention of at least getting 100 winners. And I did that, and I kept busy. And all in all, I suppose, it was a good season under circumstances.
I know you jockeys never look too far ahead, but I also know you'd love a jockeys championship. And could next year be the year when you really have a long-term go at it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's something that I've gone relatively close in the past. Never real close, never as close as I got this season. And, I got a bit of a taste for it this year. So, yeah, of course, a lot of things need to go right when you go for any jockeys championship. But look, next year is definitely high on my agenda, that's for sure.
Quality and quantity, of course, and at least 2 crackerjacks in 2020 in the Godolphin colours, Pinatubo and Gaiath. What were the real high days for those two?
I suppose starting with Gaiath, he was, just his consistency through the season and, his performances, they were just unbelievable. And he's always a horse that we always held in very high regard. And I suppose just felt that things hadn't quite gone his way, setbacks and other things. So, I mean, it was hugely satisfying to get him to win the way he did, the Coronation Cup, the Eclipse, and then the Jodmont. So, phenomenal racehorse, and I'll do well to ride another one like him.
With Gaiath, you had a number of memorable clashes with him and Magical. We get Magical coming here to Hong Kong to line up in the Hong Kong Cup. How do you measure her up? What's she like as a horse to take on?
Yeah, she's super. I mean, she's very, very good, and she's just got a lot going for her. She looks very uncomplicated. She has a great will to win, and she's on Sunday. She's going to get everything in her favour. So, she's a very strong mare, and obviously, Gaiath beat her in the Jodmont, and then she got her own back on us in Ireland. So, it was a great race. Obviously, it was hard to be on the losing side of it, but there's no question about it. It was a great race, and it created a great spectacle. So, she won fair and square, and it was a top class race with 2 top class horses going for it.
Given that we've seen Japanese horses have so much success in Hong Kong in the last 20 years, you've ridden there plenty of times. You're riding 2 Japanese horses tomorrow. What is it about their racing industry and their horses that make them so hard to beat on the world stage?
They obviously have great stallions there, and they invest heavily in broodmares. Very rarely do you not see a solid pace throughout a race, whatever the distance is. So, and I just think, whatever horse wins those races or can build up a sequence of wins in those races, it's an exceptional horse for sure. And I think, the Japanese having good horses is by design rather than accident. They really breed the best of the best, and they race against the best.
Tower of London is one of the best sprinters in Japan. What are his chances of making a mark against the best sprinters in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I think if he comes back to his Nakayama sprint form when he won, I think he's he was only last year. I think he has as good a chance as any in the race. His form has been a bit up and down. He's run over 7 furlongs a couple of times and stuff like that. But I think he's going to get his conditions to suit. He likes fast ground. 6 furlongs around a turn really suits him well. And I think if he runs up to his best form, I think he's got a solid chance.
William Graham's been telling anyone that will listen to him this week that Danon Premium's the one to beat in the Hong Kong Cup. Is the great man right?
I hope he's right.
First time for everything.
Yeah, I mean, his last run in a 10 or so when he was 4th behind Almondaya is obviously very strong form, and the 2 horses that filled the 2nd and 3rd spot, they're very good horses as well. I think both of them, or at least one of them, is going for the Iron McKinnon. So, I mean, again, he made the run and he looked like he set good fractions, and he's got some great form in the book. He's a Group 1 winner at 2. He was 3rd in the Queen Elizabeth in Sydney last year, in the spring, and I think his form is rock solid.
Do you see Magical as the key obstacle?
Yeah, I think she ticks a lot of boxes. She just hasn't got any chinks in her armour, so she knows how to win those races, and I think she's the one we will have to beat.
It's a strange year for everyone. What's it like to ride in these really big races behind closed doors? You You can hear the horses thundering by. You can hear the odd crack of a whip, a jockey shouting. From the stands, it's really strange. What's it like from the saddle?
It is strange. It is strange, but you know, it's amazing how you get used to things and you kind of adapt to it. So obviously we've had it all year pretty much. But I think, you know, we're racing, and I think that in itself is a feat. And I think, you know, what the Hong Kong Jockey Club have done to get us here and to get the show on the road, how they have done is just exceptional. And, you know, obviously we're very thankful for that, because we all know, like, international travel these days is near on impossible. So I'm very thankful for that. And you know, I think obviously the crowds, that's hugely important, but I suppose at the end of the day, having the racing in itself is surely at the moment as important.
Well, William, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you here on the Countdown Show. Thank you for your time. All the best for tomorrow at Sha Tin.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you, William. All the best.
Thank you.
So we've heard then from William Buick from a jockey's point of view about what the challenges have been in 2020. But what's it been like for the master of Ballydoyle, Aidan O'Brien?
We are is a very small cog in a very big wheel. I suppose in these times everyone shoulder has been to the wheel. Listen, it's all about the team. It's everyone making little decisions all the way, consciously and unconsciously, but that's what makes it work. I don't think it could have been better. I think it was very realistic, sensible. I think what they've done is very responsible, and I don't think they could have made it any easier for anybody, and at the same time try keep everybody as healthy and as safe as they can. I think it's been a credit to them, really. They work very hard, and they always have from the time they've been babies. They have never known anything else. It's 7 days, every day, every minute of the day, and like, we're very grateful to them for all their help, which they give us a lot of help now. They're younger, fresher minds than we are, but all the teams work very well together. Like, when we go racing, we're very competitive. We all want to win, but we're always delighted for each other to win. Whatever the public health rules are, we have been abiding by them totally in every way, and that's why we haven't been going racing. And because the rule in this country is, if you go racing, you have to come back in and do 2 weeks quarantine, and 2 weeks quarantine means that you can't mix with other people, and so we just couldn't do it. So what we're just totally abiding by the rules. Whatever they will be come Christmas time, we will do. Obviously, we're all in different households now most of the times. Hopefully that we'll be all able to get together as much as we can. Happy Christmas to everybody. We wish we were there. We really look forward to watching it, and well done for having such competitive racing on, I think, for everybody all over the world, because I think it's races and races like that and meetings like that make all the difference to people, and especially people that can't go racing. Thanks for everything, and happy Christmas to everybody.
And a very Merry Christmas as well too to Aidan and all of the O'Brien family. So that pretty much brings us to the end of the Countdown shows for the week. The action on the track is about to get underway very soon. Graham, there's a lot of people to thank. Our colleagues Mark McNamara and Tom Wood for steering the ship here on this show. To all of our guests, to the production team, thank you to all of them. Graham, a special thank you to you for your tireless work. And not just a thank you, but a happy birthday as well.
Thank you very much, Edward. I'd almost forgotten about that, but thank you for reminding me. 21 again. No, it's been a treat to be part of the Countdown show all week. The action's almost upon us. From a selfish point of view, I'd like to see Dannon Premium run well. From a romantic point of view, I'd love to see Magical win. But you're right, Golden 60 could be the key horse of IR 2020. What are the horses you're looking forward to seeing most?
I'm also excited about Golden 60. I'm a huge fan of him. He's only been beaten once in his career, and I want to see him get that Group 1 win against international opposition. And I know I've touched on this. The head and the heart are arguing for me, but I'd love to see Classique Legend launch down the outside and win the Hong Kong Sprint. I think that'd be a fabulous sight to see. We'll see you at the track though, Graham.
I'll be there. I can't wait for it.
The greatest show on turf is less than 24 hours away. We hope to have your company. The countdown is done. The action on the track is about to begin.